Aloha, Velina mai me ke aloha pakahia pau. My name is Leanne Ke Aloha Fox, and I am one of the 21 emerging leaders from the Asia-Pacific region brought together by the Obama Foundation. One of two who call Hawaii our homeland as Native Hawaiians. We are artists, innovators, entrepreneurs, all connected by the Great Sea of Islands. The foundation is investing in change makers just like me, an indigenous scientist, a mother, a proud daughter working in support of the community for better change. Through workshops, strategy sessions, peer coaching, we stand together now as allies. While I drive home tomorrow, my peers will fly back to Guam, Samoa, Indonesia, China, Japan, Aotearoa, 16 countries in total, inspired, empowered, and connected to change the world. Because as President Obama told us today, change will not come if we wait for some other person at some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. And so, me kahano hano nui, with great honor, on behalf of the inaugural Asia-Pacific Obama Leaders Program, join me with genuine aloha and welcome President Barack Obama.
Aloha, everybody. Please, everybody have a seat if you got a chair, and if you don't sit down. It is so good to be back home. Thank you, Ke Aloha, for the beautiful introduction. I want to thank so many people who are here, who helped make this amazing event possible, and we could not be more proud of the work that people like Ke Aloha are doing to advance the amazing legacy and traditions and culture of Native Hawaiians. I want to acknowledge a few extraordinary public servants who are with us here today. Mr. Governor, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, and you're welcome. Senator Schatz is here, Representative Gabbard, as well as Mayor Caldwell. Please give them a big round of applause. We are grateful to them. I am very glad that we could bring the Obama Foundation programming here to Hawaii, and we are grateful to be partnering with the University of Hawaii, which, as some of you may know, has been pretty important to my family over the years. Basically, I wouldn't exist were it not for the University of Hawaii. Some of you may be aware, my father met my mother on a bench somewhere around here. My mother went to school here. She made some of her best friends here. She met Maya's father here. There is rumors that I was born about a mile from here. I have a birth certificate. I cannot vouch for the fact that I was born here because I was very small at the time. But people who were there say it's true. So this is a pretty important part of my life. And I could not be happier to see the young leaders that were here coming to the East-West Center. Because, my mother, who ended up living in various parts of Asia and devoting her life to development issues in Asia, particularly for women, always used East-West Center as sort of a base, as a connector to the work that she was doing. And I think she would be so proud to see the continuation of the sorts of advocacy and work that's being done by these remarkable young leaders here. So I feel sort of her spirit hovering in the place. I'm grateful to be working with David Lasner and Richard and so many other good people from these two great Hawaii institutions. Now, as many of you know, when I left the presidency, I had to make a decision about how to focus my time and energy other than golf and writing my book, which is obviously somewhat overshadowed by, you know, somebody who just like kind of knocked it out really quick, and then the rest is history. And with so many problems around the world, I realized that there were a lot of causes I cared deeply about. As somebody who was born and raised in Hawaii, the idea that we are not being proper stewards of our planet and our oceans and the air that we breathe, that troubles me. As somebody who devoted my life and my work to providing opportunity to all people and not just some, the growing inequalities that we see in our society is something that I care deeply about. As somebody who benefited from a great education, the idea that some children don't get those same opportunities is something that I care deeply about. As the commander-in-chief of the largest military on earth, seeing the devastation of war and conflict and its effects on ordinary people and wanting to create a world in which we're not so divided around tribe and race and people who are narrowly obsessed with power, exploiting their populations. Those are things I want to put an end to. So I had no shortage of causes that I wanted to work on. But the one thing that I felt very deeply was that the single most important thing I could do, and Michelle feels the same way about her mission in the years to come, the single most important thing we could do was to make sure that we were helping the next generation of leaders make the changes that this world needs, that we were empowering the folks who are coming behind us so that they had the platform, the opportunity to channel the amazing energy and passion and imagination in order to bring a whole new set of eyes and ideas and possibilities to the world. Because oftentimes, frankly, people ask, "Oh, Barack, we miss you. Oh, why isn't Michelle running?" And we always say to people, I won't say we, I'm getting old, I got gray hair. And one of the challenges we have in this world is people clinging on to power instead of seeing the power in other people. So it's no secret that we live in complicated times, and in many countries our politics has become ugly and divisive, and social media amplifies our differences more than it lifts up those things that we share. Too many people are falling behind. The natural environment is suffering, in some cases, irreversible damage. So it can be hard to figure out where to start, but I can tell you, traveling throughout the United States and traveling around the world, whenever I meet young people who are already making a difference, I'm inspired. And I'm confident about the future. And our theory, as a consequence, about the Obama Foundation is very simple. If we can get these young people together and give them more tools and give them more resources, shine a spotlight on the work that they're doing, help them scale success, help them learn from their failures, connect them to each other so that they can learn from each other and the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. If we can do all that, they will change the world. They will transform and solve the problems that we face. But we've got to want to see them succeed and invest in them in ways that frankly, we don't always do. Most of the problems that we face in the world, we face not because we don't have good technical solutions. We know how to educate poor children. We know how to fix the environment. We know how to provide economic opportunity to communities that have fallen behind. What prevents us from implementing those ideas is a lack of human organization, a lack of leadership. And when I say leadership, I don't just mean some politician up top, although that's important. But I also mean people at the grassroots, people at the local levels who are able to inspire and motivate and mobilize communities to effectuate the changes that need to take place. So we have a deficit of leadership and we need new blood. And at the Obama Foundation, although we're just getting started, we've already seen results. And I'll just give you a couple of examples. Last summer in South Africa, we brought together 200 extraordinary young leaders from across the continent, 50 countries, men and women who have already demonstrated promise in public service and civil society and private sectors. And they got a chance to meet with people like Kofi Annan and Gracia Michel and entrepreneurs from Silicon Valley and health experts, all of whom exchanged ideas with them and gave them support, and they learned from each other because in many cases this is the first time that they were ever broken out of their isolation and seen people who were doing the kind of work that they were doing. And what's amazing about the result is not only are they still working with us at the foundation, but they stayed in touch with each other. And they're now learning from each other and exchanging best practices and testing ideas with each other and supporting each other in ways that will result, as they rise in their respective fields, in a whole new generation on an entire continent that is connected and shares a vision of what's possible. So they're combating corruption, they're fighting poverty, they're increasing access to health care, they're defending press freedoms, they're educating other young people. And 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, when they are now national and global leaders and powerful advocates and successful entrepreneurs, they are going to have, across borders, a connection that is going to be extraordinarily powerful. And I mention this example because we want to do the same thing in the Asia-Pacific region, in Latin America, in North America. And if we can start with a few thousand and then 100,000 and then 1 million of those young leaders around the world, nothing can stop us. So it's no secret that I believe, in particular around the Asia-Pacific region, that we've got to get this right. A lot of the world's future depends on how Asia the Asia-Pacific region does. It's a place of tremendous diversity and natural resources and rising economic and political power, and it's also a very young region. Roughly 2/3 of people in Southeast Asia were born after 1980, which really makes me feel old. When I was president, we launched something called the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative, or YSEALI, and you can see they got some partisans here, but so YSEALI ended up reaching hundreds of thousands of young people, and we now have the opportunity to build a new long-term network of young leaders through the Obama Foundation based on a lot of the principles that we know worked because we saw it implemented in the last 5 years that I was in office. So today I'm pleased to announce that this year we're going to bring our next Regional Leaders Program here in the Asia Pacific, just as we did in South Africa. We're going to have a larger convening. This group has essentially been our brain trust to help figure out what's going to be useful when we bring that larger group together. And they're going to help us build this enduring platform to inspire and connect and empower the next generation of leaders. Before we moved forward, we thought it'd be useful to actually hear from the young leaders themselves rather than tell them what we need. We thought, you know what, let's ask them what they need. And one of the principles that I used to teach when I was a community organizer is the power of listening. If you want to lead, listen. And we have been blessed to have some incredible young people here who are willing to tell us their experiences, their unique challenges, and share those with us. So we now have, I don't know how many bulletin boards we had, in which they were writing down every idea I can imagine. I'm going to be up late because I got a lot of homework now, reading through this stuff. Not only did we have the young leaders there, but we also brought some people who are experts in their own field and are committed to the future of the region, like, for example, Tony Fernandez, who's with us here today and did great work helping us to make this all happen. As has already been mentioned, the young leaders that we've been working with come from over a dozen countries, from Thailand to Japan, Myanmar, China, Indonesia, as well as the Pacific Islands and the United States and the island of Hawaii. People like Ramanadi Pradana, where's Raman? There he is. Selamat malam. He is working to promote sustainable use of land in Indonesia, bringing together government and private sector and civil society. And people like Tu Ngo, who co-founded, here we go, who co-founded an education company in Vietnam that is educating more than 30,000 students online and in person. And people like Julian Aguon. Where's Julian? Whoa, way back there. A human rights lawyer from Guam who's finding new ways to support indigenous peoples. You talk to them and you will be reminded about how much talent and energy and these young people have, this generation has, and how ready they are to get moving, building even bigger, more impactful organizational efforts than they're already doing. And I've also heard more than once from them about the value of connecting to one another, how they're sharing ideas, making relationships, and building the type of movements that can move the world forward. So these are the folks who are going to make changes, but they're just a tip of the iceberg because there are a lot more folks out there who are ready to do the same. Now, part of what we're going to be trying to do with the Obama Foundation is also, though, to promote a values-based approach to leadership development, because we believe that real leadership involves dialogue and inclusion and tolerance and a commitment to human dignity. That if you don't get that right, whatever technical solutions you come up with are going to end up failing. And if you want to be a leader, then you better have those kinds of ideas in place. And that, by the way, is another good reason why we're in Hawaii. Growing up here, I experienced firsthand how people from different backgrounds can learn from one another and work together to create a thriving community. Hawaii also taught me not to get too high or too low based on the given moment. Just kind of chill. To try to stay focused on doing what's right and thinking about the long term, to be patient, to be humble, to be committed to a sense of our common humanity. And I should add, at this point, nobody exemplifies this aloha spirit better than my sister Maya, Sutoro Ing. She's taught at the university for a long time. She was willing to help us build this program and showcase this place that we love. So we're really proud of her, and we're obviously proud of our young leaders from Hawaii who have been a great bridge for your fellow participants to the broader community of Hawaii. Somebody asked me, a reporter asked me earlier, why Hawaii? I said, well, yeah, why not? I mean, people generally don't mind coming to Hawaii. But what I also said is obviously it's always been a bridge between East and West. It's part of the fabric of the United States, but it's also part of the broader community of the Pacific Islands and the Asia-Pacific region. And so as we launch and build this program, Hawaii is going to be indispensable. It's going to be a key platform for us, a convening space, a resource, and an example of the kind of community-based solutions that we aim to promote. And the leaders here today have already experienced this. I understand yesterday you guys went to the Manoa Heritage Center to get a better understanding of Hawaiian culture, and you learned from local experts and navigator Nainoa Thompson, and you were hosted by middle and high school students, right, from various communities here in Hawaii, and you got a chance to look up at those magnificent mountains and share a Hawaiian dinner, and hopefully that made you reflect a little bit about your own cultures and your own communities. And that in turn, I think, contributed to how productive the workshops were here today. So bottom line is I could not be more excited about the work that we're going to do. I am eager to see everything that you're going to accomplish in the future. I thank the community of Hawaii for, as always, being such exemplary hosts. And I'm confident that with the great team that we're building and the amazing partnerships that all of you represent, that we are going to once again change the world for the better. And I'm looking forward to rolling my sleeves up and working with you every step of the way. All right? Thank you, everybody. Aloha. Take care.